Massive protests in Venezuela as President Nicolas Maduro is claiming victory, and a crackdown that could lead to an outright civil war to Venezuelan immigrants Joanna Rodriguez and Eric Brewing. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Neil, for having us.
You know, Joanna, I'll go to you first and get your sense of what you're seeing going on there, because we're told the government said that 8 million plus voted for this, constitutional edict that would allow Maduro to sort of have more control over the government. But others are saying the numbers were not that high. I guess that would represent about 43% of the voting public. What do you think?
I think that the election result numbers that they gave is a complete fraud. Opposition has said that it's more along the lines of 12% of the people voted. The opposition greatly protested this vote, and I think the government is just scared of what's happening, and they're trying to do everything in their power to remain this authoritarian socialist dictatorship.
All right, so if that's true, I have no reason to doubt it, because others have echoed that, Eric, and this was a silent protest by so many millions not voting. What does that prove if this gets passed and through, and all of a sudden you have a legislative body dominated by Maduro supporters? It's their way or the highway, right?
Sure, Neil. I mean, you mentioned a possible civil war, and what this proves is that there's an escalating war on civilians. This vote only gave people one option: to vote for an assembly to rewrite the Constitution. There was no option to vote against it. So the only thing that it proves is that there's a tyrannical government willing to do almost anything to do a power grab and implement its socialist policies.
You know, Jenna, what I wonder about, and Eric, I want to raise this with you as well. Do you think that if it does go to civil war here, do you ever scratch your head and wonder how the heck it happened? Because a lot of people blame this on declining oil prices, but the fact of the matter is other countries that trade in oil, and the majority of what they have is in oil, aren't in this complete free fall. What happened?
I really think that the government has used the National Reserve money as a slush fund. Yesterday, there was one of the ambassadors in New York City Central Park walking their dog, and you see this from a lot of high government officials. They're traveling around the country eating extravagant meals, using the country's money, and completely misusing the money that the country has.
So, Eric, if that is the case, it would be really weird that a country that had so many riches ended up spending so much more than even it had on cradle-to-grave assurances, payoffs, buyouts, whatever you want to call it, to the point that they've tapped all assets. There's nothing left.
This is true, Neil, and it stems from the fundamental socialist policies that they implemented almost 2 decades ago. With that principle as an organizing dynamic of what government is supposed to do, there's no country in the world that has enough money to go around and just give it away cradle to grave indiscriminately as they have in Venezuela.
I guess the question now, because this seems worse than even it was under Hugo Chavez, and I'm wondering, Jenna, where do you see this going? Obviously, the people are not buying this and not accepting this. So if it does deteriorate to something worse, what would that be?
I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Obviously, we know that they're going to try and change the Constitution completely, so it's going to be up to whatever they decide that they're going to do. I think it's going to be more based towards having Maduro have all the power in the country, and the citizens are going to revolt. I mean, his approval ratings and the approval rating of the government in general, almost 80% of Venezuelans don't support the government anymore, and I think that will be higher and higher the more corrupt and the more authoritarian he gets.
Wow. All right, guys, thank you for taking the time. We do appreciate it.